Welcome back to another episode of Black Girls Texting. It's your girl, Sade. Hey, bitches.
It's your girl, Charles Pinky.
I didn't know we were singing and I'm not prepared. It's Glynn. Oh, I gotta say.
That was melodic.
Hello. Welcome to Black Girls Texting. It is Charles Pinky, me, and Bedside Brat.
Me. We are sans Sade because we're recording in the middle of the day and she does not have the joys of the work from home.
Just kidding. We're not doing that.
I know. Okay. No, we're not.
Snitch. What's going on?
I'm on lunch break. You know?
Same.
I mean, let's hop into the on-read or replies. I'm going to reply to. I had so many things I wanted to reply to. I kind of wanted to reply to the Beyonce song.
Reply to them all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to reply to the new Beyonce, which, so oddly enough, I can't remember what the damn name the song's called.
You Can't Take My Soul.
Is that what it's called? You Can't Take My Soul, actually?
I think it's called Take My Soul.
Maybe it's Take My Soul.
You can take my soul.
The memes and the things are hilarious, but like the vibe I really fuck with because I think we're talking a lot about like work-life balance and we're in the middle of this great resignation. And it's just kind of cool to have that as a soundtrack, even though I haven't seen people be like, Beyonce, please don't try to speak for the working man that can't actually afford to just up and quit their job.
Right.
But I also did see something kind of interesting that was saying that Beyonce is always like,
it's break my soul.
Oh,
break my soul.
Look, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm over here talking about the damn thing. I don't even know. But I saw something that said like Beyonce is always aligned with like social movements. Like when she had the self-titled album, I want to say that was a pink and black one. Mm-hmm. It was like her feminist manifesto, and that's when people were really talking about feminism and like where Black women fit in feminism. She had like the Chimamanda Adichie like excerpt on there, and then with like Lemonade, it was like her like Black Lives Matter vibe, and then now she's on this like great resignation, yeah, Gen Z energy. You know, she sticks with the times. Also on music, I'm into the Chloe Bailey Surprise. Have you heard that? It's just cute and sexy. It's funny though because what's that? He used to be hot. This model. He had an appearance on
the dark skin one.
Yeah.
Damn.
I feel like he fell off personally. But wait.
I know. I'm like,
he was on Insecure. Let me not say the boy fell off, but like when he was like hot, like everybody was feeding for him, you know?
Yeah.
He was like that guy. Wow. Can't find the damn man's name. Sorry.
I just Googled Chloe Bailey and black man. No, that's bad.
Yeah, look it up.
Chloe Bailey, what's the name of the song?
Surprise
video. It has,
it's like a B name.
I know, but like, why is it not popping up?
This don't make no sense.
Broderick Hunter.
There it is, Broderick Hunter. And I was trying to think who was another, like, you know, no shade to you, Broderick. I think you are a gorgeous, fine man. But like, who are the girls like really into these days? Like, who's the new thing on the block? I don't really know. But I remember when Broderick was like a thing.
Yes. Even though I thought there were some rumors.
Okay, because somebody said the same thing to me.
You know, that he celebrates the month of June. But I don't know. It's just a rumor.
I heard that too. I did hear that. That's hilarious. Allegedly. But yeah. So those are the things. Another thing I'm gonna reply to is my friends are getting married and they asked me to do a reading at their wedding yesterday. They called me Mallory and Laura. And so sweet.
Do you know what you're gonna read?
Screaming. Nah, I mean, I'm definitely not writing something. I feel like that feels like a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And then they were like, I could pick whatever I want. But I was like, let's make this a collaborative effort because I really don't want to like pick some shit that doesn't make any sense or like that doesn't really encapsulate it. Like, you know, they know their relationship more intimately than I do. So I want to just do like, you know, honor it in the right way. So yeah. And then my on red will be my blackface story of Spain. Should I just hop into it right now?
Yeah, hop into it.
Oh, child. Okay, so for the listeners, I have been away for the past like 10 days. I was on these islands called the Canaries. They're off the coast of Morocco, but they are Spanish islands. And my friend's family has a house there. So we went that they used to go there every summer. So we went down, whatever, chilling. And then the last couple of days of my time there, they were celebrating the Grand Canarian Carnival, which apparently I guess like in the streets they would do like feathers and like, you know, caravans and things like that, but we didn't actually go see that part. We missed it. And I should back up a little bit. Something that was kind of interesting is that, at least as it was conveyed to me, the island that we were on, Gran Canaria, is like a gay mecca. Like the main hotspot where people go out is like this big shopping center that's converted into like all the places, like a strip mall, but like several floors, but like like an outdoor mall. All the like little storefronts are small like gay bars. There's like 100 of them. It's crazy.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really cool. So you're just walking through all these like outdoor mall with this big square in the middle. And the first day that we went out, it's called Yumbo is the area. The first time we went out there, they were having a drag gala with like these big like teams competing and like huge amazing outfits, and all the people that attended were also like in drag and looked amazing. But then I did peep a couple people with some real interesting looking costumes. Like a man was dressed as like a Rasta. Somebody was dressed as like it wasn't like too bad, but I was peeping it. I think I saw like some people in afros like doing like a Diana Ross look or whatever, but not on the Luann de Lesseps, kind of giving Luann de Lesseps. Remember when Luann,
like were they, because like, an afro is one thing if you're being Diana Ross.
Exactly.
But like, were they
there was no color on the face. So it was like, I was like, okay, sure. It wasn't really bothersome to me, but I did think it was fine. It didn't really hurt me. But anyway, so then the next day we go back for like the after party for the carnival thing. And people had on all types of shit, geisha costumes, Native American headdresses. Like, I was like, first of all, they were treating it like Halloween. It was very odd. Like I don't know, carnival
inappropriate
like
Halloween.
Very much so. So the whole time we're like, damn, that's weird. That's not a cute outfit. Ooh, that's kind of sus. And then we see the sussest of them all. This big white man with his face painted black with red lips. He's wearing a blue afro and he's in a muumuu. And he's walking up ahead of me, and literally the like air erased from my body. Like everything kind of like sunk because I couldn't believe I was seeing something like that in front of my eyes. It was like, whoa, what is that? It's just like odd. It's like you start like glitching because you're just like, am I seeing that? And then I think I felt this kind of pressure to say something to him because I was the only Black person in my group of people traveling. And I felt like they were all looking at me like, oh, and they all think that I'm some like, I don't know, woke politician or something. And I'm like, I'm not even that girl. I often see like the gray space in things, but I couldn't help myself. The next thing I knew, I was following the man up the steps. Like I was right behind him. Like I don't know why. I just had to like see more. And then I just started taking pictures of him. But then
did he see you taking pictures?
Yes. Well, okay. So as soon as we get to the top of the steps, I see his partner in crime, this woman standing up there. She has even darker Black paint on her face and big, bright red lips. And she has bananas in her hair. And yes. And I was like, oh, hell no. And I went over to where they were, but like for a fair distance away from them. But I was just taking mad pictures of them, like just trying to shame them. And I was like, no. That's not cute. That's bad. And they were like, no, it's good. And like smiling and giggling, like, but being
Did they speak
condescending.
English?
Not like they were like mouthing, like I'm doing like shaking my finger no, and they're giving me a thumbs up sign and like nodding their head and smiling. And I took it as them being condescending, like them knowing that I would be offended by that.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they were just ready to be dickish, and I'll continue to explain why. So then I just finished taking all these pictures of these psychopaths. And then I'm like, I'm gonna just walk away, whatever. Because in the back of my mind, I'm already knowing what they think that they're doing, right? Like there are these traditions in these islands, you know, that there are these historic figures that are rooted in racist depictions of Black people, stereotypical depictions of Black people, this like mammy character or whatever that exists in like folklore and legend or whatever. And it becomes like, I don't know. I didn't see Atlanta, but I know that there's something like that that's happening this season that is based off of something that really exists in the Netherlands. There's like some story of a Christmas character. Some like one of Santa's elves was like a Black elf or something. Please don't quote me. But people dress up like that elf every holiday season, and they wear blackface, and they'll do a whole parade about it. But it's like, we need to go back to understand like why that figure was even placed in the story to begin with and what it was supposed to represent, because every time you dress as that person, you're perpetuating the stereotypical like origins of the story, and on top of painting your face Black and looking like a fucking psycho. That's crazy. What is wrong with y'all? And then of course we go back to the stories of fucking like stepping, fetching, and all of that type of shit, and minstrelsy. You're doing so many things when you put blackface on your face. It's not like you have to interrogate these figures in your culture, period. Like, because that was one thing in that moment that I was like, people do that shit in America somewhere, I'm sure, but we've really taken the time to unpack like why we can't continue to do that shit. Anyway, so my friend, I'm like, yo, let's walk away. My friend's like, I gotta say something to them. I have to say something to them. Like, I just need to understand why they're dressed like that. At the very least, I'm gonna let them know, like, we're from New York and the UK, and like shit like that doesn't fly where we're from. So he tries to start having a civil conversation with the man. The man starts showing him some pictures of some like mammy figure. I start talking to the woman, and she's like, no, can I please explain? And she's like giggling and smiling. I'm like, why are you giggling? You like, what's good with you? But she's like, no, it's a good thing. Like, my housekeeper, this is like in broken Spanish. My housekeeper is Senegalese. She gave us these dresses to wear. She told us it was a good idea if we dress like this character. It's a good idea. Are you saying you're paying homage? Because you can't be paying homage to a character that was created to be racist and stereotypical, period.
Right.
So like what? So then she's like, no, let me show you. She starts pulling up her phone and she shows me a picture of a little Black boy. And I was like, girl, that's a baby. Like, I just screamed that, like, why are you showing me this little Black child and you telling me that you dressed up like that has something to do with that baby? You shouldn't be around a little Black child. You share space with that little boy. You need to get far away from him. This is so crazy. And then she started screaming at me and calling me stupid. And then they started calling my friends the F word. And it turned into like a whole melee.
Oh my gosh. At first I was like, okay, because I don't really know, like I know the history of like minstrelsy and like blackface and all that in America, right? But I know, like, I forgot what the festival is called. Maybe I'll find it next week, or maybe I can do a quick Google, but there's something in Colombia too, where like people dress up in blackface. And I know like even in Brooklyn, like the Hasidic Jewish community have almost like a Halloween. And I saw like pictures of them in blackface. I don't know.
What is that about?
I was like, I know it's racist in America, right? There's a history. I've learned about it in my like American pop culture courses in college, but like, is the history the same elsewhere? I don't know. But even still, it's like, why is it that caricature? Like, Black people don't have black skin, big red lips, and banana stuff in their hair.
Exactly. Like, they had the overdrawn lips that were all the way around their whole mouth, and it was all like sloppily smeared on, so it also just felt just nasty.
Like it's not like to look like you're trying to look clownish.
Yes, that's the word. And then they were wearing these afros. One had on a blue afro and the other ones was orange. Yeah, it's like clownish. It's mockery.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna tell me that there's this historic character or story of this woman in your culture or whatever, and she had bananas in her hair and she did all that type of shit, and we're at the drag gala and you want to turn it into something with a fucking banana headdress, I don't know. Like, maybe you could like artistically do it, no blackface on your face, and I don't know, I don't know.
And
Like
what's the obsession with wanting to be black anyways? Why can't you find a white character to dress up as?
That always gets me. But see, I don't think that it was about the black character. Like, I really think that they were trying, like, you got the picture came through when I sent it, right? To you?
Yeah, they looked like clowns.
Yes.
It was weird.
It's crazy.
They look like clowns, but like they painted their skin black. It was so weird. Yeah, that was
trippy.
jarring. Like
if that's the word, it was jarring
to see that in real life, because I've seen it like in pictures or like in old videos, or like when these politicians get, you know, their high school photos dug up.
Exactly.
but like in real life, in 2022,
real life, that shit was
so
crazy.
weird. And then to be like defensive about it, like, okay, maybe you didn't know, but then don't start calling me
stupid.
You know, crazy. Yeah. That is so. Yeah, I'm sorry that. Wait, so was the carnival like, were they playing Caribbean music? Was it just okay? So it was just like a festival.
Yeah, well, I missed the carnival itself. I'm tight about that. I really wanted to go, but you know, by the time we got to the thing, it was so weird because it was just like at this shopping center thing again, and since it's this gay mecca, they were playing like Kylie Minogue and things like that, and then there's people walking around in blackface. I'm like, this is so. Like, it feels counterintuitive. Like, how are we being bigots? But this is like a safe space.
Right. Damn.
It was just weird.
So weird.
It was fucking weird. I never seen no shit like that before. But there were some black people that were around that saw like us getting like hype with them. And they're like, yo, what's good? I was like, yo, they're in blackface. And they were like, yeah, that's how it is here. I'm like, damn, do we need to be living in a space?
What is it? Stockholm syndrome.
Or just they're just numb to it all, or they just accepted it, you know? I don't know. I could do a little bit more research on this, I guess. All I know is that shit was nasty and I didn't like seeing it. And it just has no place. I just don't think it has a place. I don't know. Yeah, there was a documentary about this about Amsterdam. Anyway, I'll do some digging. Let's continue on. Tell me about you, Chelsea.
That is so wild. Okay, what about me? Well, I'm gonna reply to JetBlue.
Oh.
I was telling you guys, typically I'm a Delta girl, but like Delta has been like really fucking me over a lot recently. They've canceled my flights. They've given me a hard time in terms of a refund or like some sort of compensation. Like they're just giving me the whole runaround. I actually had a phone call with a Delta representative, and it was the first time I've ever had someone be this rude. Like she actually was like,
they were rude.
She was rude because I had been going back and forth for like 20 days between Amex Travel and Delta to figure out who's going to give me my refund, because one of you guys need to do it. And like they kept passing the buck to each other, passing the buck. But when you call Delta, it's always like a 2-hour wait.
Yes, which is crazy.
It's crazy. But when you call Amex, it's like a 2-minute wait. So I called Delta, got through to Delta, and I was like, hold on, I'm going to 3-way you into Amex because I'm tired of calling both of you and not getting an answer.
Y'all got to speak to each other.
So y'all got to speak to each other. And the lady's like, well, I don't know how that's going to help. And I kept trying to explain to her that, ma'am, I've been doing this for 20 days. And like, now I'm getting frustrated. So I just want a solution. And you guys keep both giving me incorrect information. So I'm going to put you guys both on a call on your recorded line so we can get an answer. And she was like, I was like, are you okay? And then she was like, I just don't understand why I need to be connected. I was like, ma'am, the Amex phone line, like I get to a representative in 1 minute. Like, just hang on 1 second. I need help. I keep calling. I'm keep not getting help. And she was just like huffing and puffing. And I was like, this is ridiculous. And then at one point, the Amex person was like, give me 1 second. Let me check. You know, when they put you on a brief hold, she literally put me on a 1 minute hold. And the Delta woman's like, okay, I'm going to hang up now.
No.
And I was like, no, I would like for you to stay on the line so you can help me. And then this bitch hung up. And then the Amex person came back and basically was like, yeah, go through with the Delta team and do the refund. We'll give it back to you or whatever. And I was like, well, the bitch just hung up.
Oh my God, I would have lost my mind, bro.
Bro, I did. I called back Delta. I was like, whoever I was with last time, like she was terrible. She did this. Like I told them the whole thing. But like, I was like, are you insane? Like I'm the one who's distressed.
And girl, what do you got to do? Rush and go pick up some other calls?
Right. If anything, take
your time on this call and then
your
get the
time on this
5-star thing. I'll take the survey after.
I always take the survey because I know at call centers that helps them get paid. And if
Exactly.
they're helpful, I do the survey.
Always.
But like this bitch, I did the survey for her.
Oh, I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. Think about that.
I gave her a 1. How much would you recommend this person? Not at all, ever. Unsatisfactory. But yeah. But on the other hand, so I'm leaving Delta's ass on red. And I'm replying to JetBlue because I'm like tired of Delta abusing me when I'm so loyal to them. And JetBlue has made it so easy for me to like change my flights. Like the thing just goes back to your travel credit and like you just use that money for the new flight. It's just so easy. And then if you need to talk to someone, instead of waiting for like 2 hours on the phone, there's just like this text option. And they just like text you and like
they have that
you.
for Delta too, but you still have to wait. Have you never done the text Delta?
No, I've never done it with Delta.
Oh, they have it, but I always feel like they don't know what they're talking about, and they don't. I will always have a complex question, and they're telling me to like text the person, and then at first, of course, you get like an automated person, whatever.
Oh, I don't get an automated person, JetBlue.
Really?
Mm.
Okay, JetBlue. But you know, it's kind of also really random as we're talking about airlines. I was thinking about the importance of representation on planes. And I know people think about that with like the pilot. Like I don't think I've flown with a black pilot before. Maybe.
I know a black pilot.
Oh, he's single? Or she?
No, he's married. He's married.
I've flown with a woman pilot before and I was like, oh my God, this is lit. But
I don't think I've ever had a woman.
That was fire. But when I was flying home from London, the lady, I saw one of the flight attendants get on. She was a black woman. She had like an AKA tag on her bag and she was carrying a Telfar. And I was like, I love this. Suddenly I felt a little bit safer on the plane. I did.
What is your fear about the plane? Like
I think I'm going to crash. Yes.
But like it doesn't happen.
But it just did like mad times.
It's not mad times. Do you get scared when you're in cars?
I'm starting to get scared in cars.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I have a problem. I probably need to be medicated. But no, literally, I'm really starting to get scared in cars. And I'm like, I can't be scared in fucking cars now. But I'm not really that scared. But planes, when I flew to London, the plane was making crazy sounds. It was like, boom, boom.
What airline was it?
Bitch. This was supposed to be JetBlue, but it was operated by fucking Virgin.
Oh, I thought Virgin.
I did too. It was ghetto. Oh my God. Oh, I wrote them the fuck up. It was trash. Old ass plane making sounds, creaking and boom, boom, booming the whole way through the sky. Like,
that's wild.
It was like something was hitting it.
Purple.
Yes.
Oh God.
It was like boom in the middle of the air. Like it was crazy. I've flown Virgin from New York to LA and it was like sexy. This was not it.
Yeah,
anyway,
okay, I've done New York to LA.
I'm gonna say I hope you enjoy all this airline talk.
I think people like our random chatter. I hope. Is your hotline blinging?
Nah. I mean, I'll say this. I guess it's blinging with plans for Pride weekends.
When exactly is that?
Is this coming? Well, we're recording right now on Thursday, June 23rd, and shit is about to start cracking tomorrow. I think I'm gonna go back to the Black and Brown Circuit Party. Laquana's hosting. That's the one that I went to last time where nobody was allowed to wear shirts, and they had the dark room and stuff.
So you're gonna get some pasties?
Oh, I don't know what I'm gonna fucking wear. I gotta figure that shit out.
Is it still no shirts?
I think that's always the rule.
Oh, get pasties. Or get those like tassels.
But they give like crazy, amazing outfits. Like I waited too long because I thought I was gonna be doing other shit this weekend. But you know, I don't know. I was gonna be like very hetero this weekend. But
not very hetero.
I was.
The cis het.
I was. But then I honestly, you know, I feel like this often. I'm like, a lot of the times with my friends, the friend group that I chill with most often is all gay men. I'm often like the only cis het woman there.
Are you het?
Het-ish.
Okay.
I know I'm like, at this point, I could just step into like the queerness of it all.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't feel as fugazi, but literally the weekend's coming and all my friends are like, okay, bitch, where we at? What are we doing? And I'm like, oh my God, y'all really want me to be around. Y'all. It just makes me very happy, but I'm always conscious of like, am I taking up space? Should I be here? Like, da 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 da. But I really don't even think about it like that because I don't know. It's just this friend circle that I've fallen into most recently has just been the most open, like welcoming people. And every time I hang out with them, I meet new people every time and they're cool as fuck. And we always just end up vibing and then forming our own friendships and like true friendships. Like I'm going to these people's birthdays and doing all this kind of shit. And like, I don't know, I just fuck with this circle and it's making me love New York so much more because there's just always fun things to do with them. And they're just like dope ass people. So yeah, the hotline's blinging.
It's amazing. We are so excited about our Black girl doing shit.
Yes. You're going to hear her bio when we step into the group chat, but we're so excited to have Tai Beauchamp with us. She is a constant Black girl doing shit, and she is our big sister in our head. She exudes so much positivity and confidence and compassion and like is really about bringing women together, uplifting women, uplifting Black women in particular, health and wellness. Like she's committed to it and it's so genuine and authentic. You're gonna fucking love this. Let's hop into the group chat so you can meet our Black girl doing shit.
All right, y'all. It's time for the group chat.
Oh my God. The moment we've been waiting for. The woman that's in the group chat right now. This is so long overdue. We have Miss Tai Beauchamp. And if you don't already know, Tai is an award-winning TV host, producer, and serial entrepreneur who innately connects and empowers women. And I feel that line so much because that is so her. An alum of Spelman College, Tai is a thought leader and respected beauty, fashion, and lifestyle authority, and has been named one of the 50 most influential people in the multicultural market by Women's Wear Daily. Tai was formerly an editor at O, the Oprah magazine, Vibe Vixen, and 17 magazines, where she made history as the teen magazine's first Black and youngest beauty and fitness director in the title's entire history. In 2006, Tai founded Tai Life Media LLC, a media and creative consulting company that partners with global brands across multi-channel platforms to develop lifestyle and wellness content. And in early 2020, Tai further expanded her entrepreneurial footprint, co-founding Brown Girl Jane, the first and preeminent plant-based beauty and wellness collection centering women of color. One of Tai's most recent projects is her popular Instagram live series, Morning Mindset with Tai, a daily live session aimed at setting your spirit, heart, and mind off to the right start each morning. Welcome, Tai, to the group chat.
Oh my God. I'm so excited to be here. It's like, well, it's always so incredible to see you ladies. And I feel like, quite honestly, we have never done it together.
Right.
Like it's always, I'm seeing Glynn or I'm seeing Chelsea or I'm seeing Sade. And like now I just feel so happy to see all three of you as one beautiful collection. But even that, you all inspire me. And I've said that to you all individually. I mean, it's true because, you know, this new way of connecting and as young women, the way that you do it so intentionally and in a way that I didn't know how to because a platform like this wasn't available then. It's just super inspiring. And so, hey, Black girls texting.
Yeah.
Hey, Tai. I feel like I always say this, but like I highly recommend that if you're listening, you get yourself on the YouTube because the girls are all smiles. Like we are ear to ear. So happy that you're here.
Because the love and the energy
you.
is right. Before we start off, just want to do a little check-in. How is everybody feeling? It's the end of the day here in New York. I have had a day and it's rainy and I'm like tired. And I just got home from Spain, so I'm jet lagged. A lot of things.
Wow. You're right.
Exactly. I was like, I just flew in. I'm so very exhausted. I'm just so tired. You know,
Trying to get back on this time zone.
The air. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Really nice problems to have, Glenn. Well, but no, seriously, I think appreciating being tired and listening to that and honoring that, even when you just came back from Spain. And what I love is being able to voice that. I think about our ancestors who couldn't talk about fatigue, who didn't have the opportunity to express, exhaustion or joy or any of it. So, okay, you're tired and back from Spain. No, I'm kidding. No, but we appreciate that. So
yeah. And how are you doing? How are you feeling?
I actually, it's weird. I have this little bit of fatigue. I'm not tired. I'm highly energized right now. And I had a really productive day, both with Brown Girl Jane and with Tai Life Media, which seldom happens. And this is true. I mean, it seldom happens that I feel productive in both businesses on the same day. I systematically try and focus my Tai Life Media TLM days on certain days, and then Brown Girl Jane on other days. Today was one of those days that I just was doing both. And I felt like it was a productive day, even though some things didn't get done that I wanted to get done. So my spirit is great. I'm happy to see you. How are you doing, Sade?
I am putting my big girl panties are on. They are big girl panties. They are big. They are
bloomers.
I have on bloomers. I was on the phone with the lawyer, the mortgage company, the parents, talking about life estates and wills and all this stuff. But again, I really like how you kind of shifted the narrative in terms of being tired. I feel very blessed that I'm able to start to build this generational wealth. Not even start. This was my grandmother's house. And so really thinking about the legacy that I'll be able to carry on to my children. My mom actually said, if your son is living in the house. And I was like, yes, manifest me a son.
She
Mom.
ordained it, yes.
She said, don't bring no granddaughters around.
Right. I was like, yes, I can see my little spoiled son up in the crib. We're gonna raise him right. But it was nice. And just being to have that, as exhausting as it is, having these conversations, it is a blessing. So I'm feeling blessed.
Sade, pass the torch to Chelsea.
Oh, yeah, but I want to say, Sade, really quickly, like having those conversations are so real, and I'm so proud of you to be having them now. Like I was home with my parents, and I think I'm like 15 years older than you or something like that. And I was like, look, I need to know where everything is, how everything is going. So I think the proactivity, and your mom and family being really kind of intentional about having those is good. So bravo, Black girl. Bravo.
Black girl doing shit.
Yes.
Doing the things.
Chelsea, how are you feeling?
I am also feeling a bit tired. Last night I was at my acting class and I got home at like midnight. So it's a lot. But also like happy, I'm in LA. I'm still loving it. Glad to be here in the sunshine. So loving life.
And your tiredness is coming from you staying up all night doing your thing you love, working on your craft. I love that, Chelsea.
Yeah. I love that you're acting. I didn't know that, Chelsea.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people don't know. And like, even I don't really understand my identity yet as like an actor, but being in this new community of like my classmates, they're all super encouraging. So like every time I did a monologue the other day. I did a scene from the photograph last night and they were so like supportive and like, I don't know, just like breathing life into me. So now I'm like, okay, I'm an actor. I'm gonna just keep doing it.
Own it.
Yeah. And keep saying it too. Like, I think the other thing is like, we become what we say and what we think. And so it's interesting because living in the land of actors or, growing actors or want to be. I always say when I meet people, they're like, well, I'm like, let's own it, especially like as women and as Black people and as marginalized people. Like, even if you're not it, who's to tell you that you're not it? So Chelsea, the actress.
Period. Yes. So I asked how we were feeling in this moment now when thinking about how we start our mornings, right? And morning mindset with Tai. I wanted to learn more about how this movement really began, because I see you popping up on my feed on the IG Live in the morning, and it'll be early on the East Coast. So you're up.
I be up, but I also go to bed. Last night I was at an event for the season 5 premiere of The Chi, and by 9:30 I'm like, y'all, it's my time to go. It's my time to peace out. I have my Sex and the City days. I'd be like, by 10 o'clock, 10:30, it's time for me to go. So I really started to get into morning routines probably about 12 years ago, like sticking to them. Emil actually gifted me this book by Yana Vincent. And I've always had a spiritual practice. And I started to have some morning routine, but I would fall off. And, then when I moved out here to LA, I really was going through a season of transition. I don't like to call it depression because, again, the words that we speak are really powerful. But I definitely was in a state of not feeling elevated. And so in that state, I started hiking. Like, I lived in front of Rainbow Canyon, so I started hiking every single morning. I like to say I was filled with anticipation, what some people call anxiety. So I started hiking and just going into this daily practice. And it really shifted and changed both my mindset. It changed my energy level. It changed my outlook. It changed my inspiration. It really connected me to God and spirit in a new way, because here I was in nature. And, coming from New York and Wall Street, I'm like, this ain't nature. The nature that you get in New York is pigeon poop and pigeon shit all over. Pigeon shit all over the place and rats running around and the smell of urine on subways. Not exactly the nature that you really want. So, that's it. So I'm hiking and there's still dog shit everywhere, but I was like, it just renewed my strength and my spirit. And so I would go on live some days, like when I would read something and be so inspired, and people started coming in. And then I was like, I really don't want to talk to myself by myself. So then I started inviting people that I didn't know in. So just people who followed me. And I would say, sign up to read with me. And so then I started making it this joint thing, because I was promoting the book. So people were buying her book. So know that my book is coming. But
I was about to be like, you need a book.
For sure. But for right now, with running these businesses and trying to do that. So I'm like, yes, Auntie Ayana, buy her book and read it with me. We're revamping even morning mindset right now, because I'm going to start to insert a little bit more pop culture and, current events and all of that, but really just building community. And this was happening during the pandemic. Right. And so I'd like to say how you begin is half the win. Oftentimes we're so focused on the finish line that we forget to start. So how do you start? And the truth of the matter is that morning routine, like when you study people who are highly achieved or highly successful, and I like to say successful because I don't like that word so much, but highly achieved people, they all have routines. So it increases your productivity when you set a routine. It helps your daily relationships because it lowers stress. It's all of these scientific things that actually happen when you set this routine. So I was like, why don't y'all come join me for Morning Mindset with Tai? And that's how it started. So every morning on IG, which, we're not going to stay there forever, because I also want this group to be its own intimate group. This community has really kind of started to connect with one another. So it's not just about me and my routine, it's about them and us setting our hearts, our minds, and spirits, and building community simultaneously where there's shared mindset and shared likes and concerns. And so that's what it is. When y'all coming?
No, I need to pop in. I'm gonna
be popping in. Because currently I'm waking up early. I wake up early, but
what time are you up?
I wake up at like 5.
Chelsea, you have to come in. It's every morning, Monday through Thursday at 6:15 a.m. PST.
I'll be there. I'll be there tomorrow. I'm up every morning.
I would love to see you. That would be so, and I love that it's this intergenerational thing. I mean, I have 19-year-olds in there that are in college, and then I have 68 and 67-year-olds, and and now these people are coming to LA to hike with me once a month. So it's been it's been pretty incredible. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, speaking of that, let's talk about the hike, because that was an extension of your morning mindset, right?
Yeah. Because I literally and none of this was planned. So I just want to say also, because I know so many of us, as we're texting about our lives, but we're also texting about our businesses. And sometimes we're thinking about the business that we're meant to create. This is obviously a part of TLN, and I'm still producing and I'm still hosting and all that stuff. And I need to still do that because that's my bread and butter with TLN. But, sometimes the most incredible ways to impact and build business and or community is not necessarily birth from a plan. It's just birth from doing and starting. That's why I say how you begin is half the win, and that start. And so the hike just happened because I was hiking independent of morning mindset. And people were like, I would show myself hiking on my IG, and people were like, I want to hike with you. I put it up and said, come hike with me. And 35 people showed up the first time.
Wow.
35 Black women showed up. And then the second time, 62 people showed up, flying in from all over the country, like flying in from Texas and Ohio. The third time, 88 women showed up.
Wow.
So it's become this movement, so much so I'm doing morning mindset with Tai, the hike and experience at Essence for not one, but three brands. So my vision for the hike and experience is really kind of to have a dynamic partnership with someone like a Live Nation and bring together kind of like these global hikes. So kind of think of Girl Trek mixed with
I was thinking of Girl Trek. Yeah.
Yeah, with Brené Brown, but I wanted, I want them to obviously go back, and Girl Trek would be like the perfect partner for us, because it's not saying don't hike in your treks, but to actually do it where we go to these destinations and we meet up, because it's not just about the hike, it's an entire experience. We do cheers and chanting, we do sister circles, we do sound bath and meditation, we do a workout. So check out my IG and check out Morning Mindset with Tai on IG, and you can see more of it.
1,000%. I'm so down. And what you kind of touched on this, but what sort of mindset are you trying to impart in people when they start their day? Is it that they can have forgiveness in themselves for however the day goes, that they should enter the day with peace of mind?
Yeah. Good question. Y'all are good. Y'all are good.
No, we be doing a little something.
I'm just saying, y'all be doing some research and getting all the things, because that's what don't be doing from New York. I understand how it rolls. That's the Brooklyn. Yeah. So, interestingly enough, like they are themed now. So it's a theme that I show up with. So like today was about forgiveness. Yesterday was about compassion. And so it just varies, because I think, when we share a word, it means something different to everyone. And so sometimes when I say the word forgiveness, that might trigger in Glynn the fact that she had an argument with someone and wasn't forgiving. But, for Sade, it might be, I need to forgive myself for not getting something done today, for Chelsea. So but also like what that ultimately does is unite us. It helps us to recognize the role that we play, like one in our own experience, but also the impact that we have on the people standing and sitting next to us.
I have another question, because I'm seeing this all on you in this very moment. It's your confidence. Yes. Like, whoa.
That's only because my hair is done and I got a red lip.
It got the red lip. But you really exude so much confidence. And I'm curious if that's something that you've always had, or that it's something that you've developed over time.
Yeah, I would say both, if I'm honest. I think there were places and spaces that as a child I felt completely confident. And then there were places and spaces as a child that I felt completely insecure. I do believe that we can all learn confidence. I feel fortunate. Like, so for instance, people are very surprised that I'm an introvert. So I get my energy not from being around a lot of people, and people who are close to me are like, she needs to go inward. Like she's about to go curl up and read her book, which is why I'm in bed at 5:30, not 9:30, 10 o'clock. But like my confidence in terms of being able to speak I owe that to my grandmother and to my mom and to my family, because I started taking oratory and speaking classes when I was 3 years old, because I started reading so early. So it's kind of crazy because my grandmother never really got to see me have a TV career or a speaking career or a hosting career because of her illness. So she never really got to witness that. But she knew, because I was reading early, and she pushed me to be an orator, and she was an orator. So the confidence in speaking is a little bit crazy, because if I'm honest with you guys, or you ladies, I had an anticipation attack, literally 10 minutes before I was set to do a live in an interview with a very big celebrity. Anticipation attack, again, is my word for anxiety. Like, I don't like to say anxiety. It was anticipation, because I like to say I'm filled with anticipation, just to change the narrative. And, the beautiful thing about having confidence is that you show up. But then sometimes the challenging thing about having confidence is that you show up even sometimes when you're not really equipped and resourced to show up, and you do it anyway. And I share that as an example because I was about to go live and I was having an anticipation attack, and I mean full on, like I was crying. My girlfriend was there with me. I was on the phone with the guy I was seeing at the time, like, on the phone with my boyfriend, like, you're like, oh my God. And he's like, it's okay, it's okay. And I was like, but I got to go live in 10 minutes. They're like, well, can you cancel it? I was like, I can't cancel it. And I was still able to perform. And so the thing I recognize about confidence is, and this is why I say anyone can learn it and become it, is because it's just mastering something that and well. So I know how to engage in conversation, and I can do that with anyone at any time. And so that is what triggers the confidence to do it. Now, sometimes, in that case with the anticipation attack, I probably should have been like, I need a break. And that's a whole different conversation, a wellness conversation that I think, Black women need to kind of take heed to, and all women and people need to take heed to. But yeah, the confidence, I think I've grown in it. There were times when I remember, as a young editor, when I first started at Oprah, I was 22 and I knew what I knew, but I also knew what I didn't know. And so I had the confidence to proclaim what I knew, but I also had the confidence to ask and acknowledge what I didn't know. And I think oftentimes we confuse the idea of confidence with always knowing, but confidence is also recognizing when you don't know and being able to say that. Confidence is vulnerability. Confidence is just ultimately truth. And I think when we skirt or run away from truth, that's when our confidence is diminished.
Wow.
Word.
That made me just think of so many things, because even when you said you were having like these feelings, I forget the word you used, but not anticipation, but you were feeling a little down when you moved to the West Coast, and you still had the confidence to start, your morning lives. I always feel like in social media, people only have the confidence to share the brightest moments and like the most positive moments, even though the real true moments are probably what's more useful and helpful to their audience. But like, that just made me think, like, you had the confidence even in that time to like share those moments and be vulnerable and be true, like you just said.
Yeah. I think it just comes back to truth. And it's weird because, a couple of years ago, we started using these words, like authenticity became the buzzword. And I was like, so over it, because it was like the buzzword that people were like, they're but so many people still perform as their authentic selves. And I'll be honest, I mean, sometimes there are performances like me, that example of when I was having that anticipation attack, I had to focus to perform, right? Because I had to show up and do something. But, the other thing, and I mean, I speak very transparently about this and proudly, not just because I look 28, but I'm 44 years old. You know what I mean? I'm 44. So it's like, I've gotten to a place where I've had a shit ton of things that have worked and even more things that haven't worked. And that's honest. And, because you grow in, I don't know, wisdom and just life, I'm just like, I have no problem just being, fully transparent. Now, there are some things that I definitely, keep for closed doors and, intimate relationships and that sort of thing. But I have no problem declaring my truth. And I think that that's powerful. And I also think that it, quite frankly, is revolutionary for Black women to be able to do that, and to choose to do it, even when it's uncomfortable for ourselves, and even more when it's uncomfortable for other people. And so, yeah.
The last part, for sure.
Yeah.
Tai, you just beautifully segued me into my next question about thinking about age. So I just turned 30, and Sade, I'm airing you out. I don't think you hide as much as Chelsea does. Nobody knows how old Chelsea is. She has successfully hoodwinked us all. The age changes every single day. It's very smart, I must say. But Sade's about to turn 30. So actually, I'll ask a question to Sade first. How are you feeling as you're about to turn 30? Sade, do you have any feelings about it?
I'm so excited. Everyone says like your 30s are so fun. I'm sure your 40s just get even better. And like,
and the sex gets better too.
I've heard that as well.
Sure.
Glenn's like, whoa, can't wait.
The only thing that I am being a little like anal about is just like my fitness, my body. But that's always. But I'm just like, on my 30th birthday, I want people to say, this is the best she's ever looked in her entire life. I want their jaws to drop. I want them to be sick. And so I'm on the Peloton, the Stairmaster, 2-a-days, like exercising, but also really trying to like shift my mindset because, you know, as you get older, you have to be more mindful of the things that you're doing with your body. So I'm just taking this time pre-30 to really think about what I'm consuming, not just what I'm eating, but like content I'm consuming, the people that are around me, and just use this as a time to really just like go into this next decade with a bang.
I'm here for it. I am all the way here for it.
And you know, Tai, it's funny because you mentioned straight up a little while ago that you were 44. And I had a question here. Like, I don't know if you want to tell us your age. They say never ask a woman her age. Nah, fuck that.
I mean, yeah, for real, F that, because the other thing is if I can't declare I'm 44, then I'm dead. Like what's on the other side of not saying my real age? And Bevy Smith helped me to like crystallize that because, you know, I work in entertainment. There are certain jobs that I certainly don't get anymore, but that's okay. Because I don't know all the things that Lil Nas talking about. Like, so it's okay. Like,
neither do I.
Right. But I don't know, and that's okay. And quite honestly, I'm cool with not knowing. It's different. So I actually am very proud to be 44. With that being said, there are so many things now that I reflect on. I don't have very many regrets, but there are definitely some things I would have done differently now looking back. But 30 is great. Your 30s are incredible. And the thing I will say, you know, if you're not in a committed partnership or relationship, and if you're not sure about whether or not you want a family or not, freeze your eggs. That's something I tell almost everybody. Like anyone that identifies as a woman and has a uterus, I say freeze your eggs, preserve your fertility, even if you think you might not want children. Biological children, I think it's just really important because, especially for Black and Brown women, because we're so focused on so many other aspects of our lives that we sometimes forget about that aspect. And then the other thing I say, like, you have until, I mean, it's different for everyone, but if I were to do it all over again, you know, I had a big job at 25. I had big jobs at 22, and I was very serious and very focused and very poised and very gracious and all those things. I should have been dancing on tabletops until I was 29. So by the time I was, 30, I should have been dancing on tabletops until I was 32. Anyway, but like by the time I was 28, I was an editor-in-chief. So then I had to have a whole different level of, and so there are some things like I would have had a lot more fun. I would have partied harder in college, and I would have partied harder in a different way in my 20s. I was living the real Sex in the City life at 22, but Carrie and her friends were in their 30s. So, you know what I mean? So I was like a little bit too cool for school and too grown in some ways. And so I would have went ham.
honestly, the timelines are so confusing, right? Because it's like you have people that are striving to be on like the under 30 list. And then you also have people that are, you know, thinking about settling down and their partners and their families. And I'm sorry, sure you can have it all, but like that's a lot of work and that's a lot of like shit to goal towards for a certain timeline. So I guess my question is like, do you think one needs to be prioritized over the other? Like, how do you even think about as women, like we have career, relationship, and family, and there's some time restrictions around certain things, especially you're talking about the egg freezing. Like, I think that's where I start to get a little in my head because I'm like, okay, so I got 2 years to try and do this and then 3 more for this. And I really get in my head around the structuring of how my life is supposed to go.
Do you also wonder, like, can you have it all? Can we also throw that? Do you believe, can you have it all?
Because I also don't even think about the timestamps. I'm kind of like, I'm doing this right now. It feels really good. I do think the egg freezing thing is a good point though. And I kind of am of the mind of like, when things come, they'll come. I have a long life. But I don't know if that's me like being delusional.
You see me looking at you and I'm like,
you're like, don't do it. Don't.
What?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I think having it all is possible, but having it all at the same time, in the same way, and at the same level is not realistic. It's almost like, you know, when we say we're in partnerships or in a relationship, no one is always doing 50% of anything. There are going to be times someone is carrying 85% of the load and the other person's doing 15. There's going to be times when someone's doing 70%, sometimes 60%. Like, so it's that saying all things being equal, nothing is ever all things being equal. And so for me, I look at it that way. So if I'm honest, you know, I've had a highly acclaimed career. I've made a ton of money. I've also lost a ton of money. I've also invested a ton of money. And being an entrepreneur is not easy. I pay my people before I pay myself. You know, with TLM, with BGJ, it's also a different business because it's a products business with Brown Girl Jane. It's a products business, so it's not the same thing as a service business. So it looks different. And those are two separate entities. And there were times when I made a ton of money and there were times when I didn't. So I think, but what I will tell you is like where I sit today, because I did so much professionally, I'm willing to pull back from some of the professional acclaim to focus on my personal life now. And so that's where I sit today. I think that to your point, Glynn, it's like asking yourself, like, what feels good now? Where do you want to be now? But I also like to say to young women, be thoughtful about that. Don't drive yourself batshit crazy thinking about it and force yourself into, you know, being paralyzed, but think about it and say like, you know, and know that there is not, you know, a set path for every single person, and it might look different and it might need to be tweaked in real time. But if you know that you believe or think that you want to be a mother at some point biologically, freeze your eggs. And the sooner you do that, the better. So don't wait until you're 32 or wait until you're 35, which is when I did it at 35. But I was among the first 5,000 women in the United States to actually do it for social reasons and not for medical reasons. So it wasn't even legal before I did it in 2013. Was it 2013? I'm bad with years.
Wait. It was as recent as 2013? That women weren't doing it for
social. You could
that women weren't doing it for social reasons.
You were able to do it if you had like a medical reason. So if you had cancer or if, you know, you had other fertility issues that were related to medical. But if you wanted to do it just to preserve your fertility, it wasn't being performed then until the year that I did it, whatever year that was.
Wow.
Yeah, you guys didn't hear like that, the whole Roe versus Wade issue, which obviously is like extremely detrimental. But like another layer to that is the fact that, okay, if we're calling, you know, this a baby or a child or a life, then how are you allowed to
if you
freeze them
think, yeah.
and then just throw them out. So it becomes like an issue in terms of people who are doing things, in terms of their fertility.
Oh my God.
Interesting.
So, yeah,
Damn, they be
I
get
need to
loose in
run
our
down there
bodies
right now and do it, child.
Yeah,
hurry up.
I was gonna do it this year, and I was just like,
well, what's your trepidation or what's your hesitation, if you don't mind me asking?
I just didn't feel like going through the process.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know how comfortable you are speaking about it, but from my knowledge, there was just like, you do have to do like a couple shots. You will have like some downtime. And I was just like, when am I going to do it?
You don't have a lot of downtime. It's not any real downtime.
Okay.
No, I'm completely comfortable talking about it. I mean, I talked about it on World News Tonight. I talked about it to Essence. I talked about it to the New York Post.
Oh, yes, you did talk about it to Essence. We saw that. Okay, yes.
Yeah, I've talked about it everywhere. No, the downtime, it's more of an inconvenience. That it is.
Yes.
But that's what I say. So, are you not inconvenienced in your relationship with that boo that's driving you nuts? Are you not inconvenienced in your job? Are you not inconvenienced in your relationship with dealing with your parents? Like, there are inconveniences. We have to be thoughtful about the yield of those inconveniences. So if that gives you the reassurance and the mind, the peace of mind, and knowing that if you choose to use them, that they're there, it's worth it. But it's, you take hormonal shots. I think I took hormonal shots like for 12 or 14 days. And then you have to go and get monitored after like, I think the 4th or 5th day, I can't remember, it was so long ago, every single morning. So you have to go to the doctor every single morning. So you have to be stationary. So I remember at the time I was traveling so much. I was working with InStyle at the time, and I was traveling so much. So I had to be home in order to go to the fertility specialist every single morning. And then one day I ended up in New Jersey. So I got monitored there rather than the city. But that's really it. And then you go in, for one day, and they retrieve the eggs, and you go home and you have bloating, and, you feel like your cycle is coming, and you feel uncomfortable for like another 3 days. And that's really it. I don't want to undermine it, because there were, definitely some, the bloating was annoying. The pain, the cramps that I felt were annoying, but it was the most empowering thing I've ever done, to be honest. Wow. The most empowering thing I've ever done in my life. I left there and I was just like, with God's, help of providing resource to do it, and also giving someone the mindset to create the science, I was able to, preserve my fertility for the future. Should I need them, or should I desire to have children if I don't have them naturally?
So they don't take out all your eggs. They just take out some.
Yes. So you're actually, all girl children are born with all the eggs you'll have all of your life. And you're born with about, so I can't remember if the number is like 3 million or 3 billion, but it's like a large number of eggs. And so when you're born, all the eggs, like men make sperm and semen, but like you have all the eggs that you're going to have. And so every month when you start your cycle, you shed those eggs through your menstruation. So like when that happens, that's why you want to get it done sooner. Also, because you're born with the eggs that you have. Your eggs, if you're 30, are 31 years old. Right? Because and the health and the vitality of a baby is ultimately conditioned by the health of the sperm and the vitality and the health of the egg. The older the egg, the more, right. So the younger you do this, exactly, the younger you do it, the better. So I actually say, very publicly, I have friends, my Jewish friends are buying their daughters at 23.
Yeah, no, that's not a bad idea.
So the sooner you do it, the better, because
bad idea.
Even if you don't use them, and then also you're able then from a fertility standpoint, I mean, and obviously this is, some, evangelical people might have issue with this, because you're ultimately taking science into, science and nature into your hand. Because then you can say, I want to get pregnant now, and here's what it looks like. And be that as it may, it just allows you to have choices. And that's the space we live in. Have all the options and choices.
I'm watching someone very close to me struggle with the fertility process. And it is just like such It's very
That's like my
eye-opening.
biggest fear, actually.
Yeah, no, it's
I
terrifying.
mean, basically, she looked at me and was like, freeze your damn eggs. And I was like,
I'm
ah!
doing that shit immediately.
But you know, it's
Immediately.
wild. Like, I'm sure you're already telling her, keep hope alive. But like, I know so many people who have like done IVF, or like, I'm not sure if that's the correct process, but they've done like fertility help.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden they got pregnant naturally.
Oh,
It does happen, because what happens when you're going through IVF, the hormones that they give you are inducing the production of those eggs dropping into your fallopian tubes, right? And so you're stimulating the follicles of the eggs that are already there. And so that increases your opportunity. So that's what ultimately happens. So if you were to shed or drop 2 to 3 eggs a month naturally, when you go through IVF with even cryopreservation, which is, so the cryopreservation is the
egg freezing.
medical term is egg freezing. And so it's like the same first step that you take in IVF. Whereas in IVF, they extract the egg and then they inseminate the egg and place the egg back inside a surrogate. So you're going through that first step of stimulating the eggs and retrieving the eggs, but not fertilizing them and then implanting them again. So my eggs are stored. So I have 10 eggs that I pay $1,200 a year to store.
Oh, you have to pay.
It should be
Like-
free. That's crazy.
It should be, quite honestly. I agree. So after spending the close to $15,000 on the process and the medicine and all of that, I spend $1,200 a year to freeze them, to keep them frozen.
And what have you been thinking about in terms of motherhood?
Yeah, man. I'm thinking a lot. That's why I'm like, some things with my career have to change. I've been hyper focused on it. I'm ready for my husband. I am ready for my husband. I've been doing a lot of work, personal work, deep spiritual work, deep emotional work, deep psychological work, deep trauma work, deep history work, in order to heal a lot of the things that didn't allow me to show up in relationship always the way that I want to in the future, even if it weren't the right person. I just want to be better as I show up and, receive what God has for me in terms of my life partner. In terms of motherhood, if I'm honest, I'll be 45 in January. There's a lot of question around what motherhood looks like for me. I don't at this time desire to do it by myself, because I don't want to do shit else by myself. That's why it's incredible having business partners with Brown Girl Jane. I don't want to do anything else by myself, and I don't. But in terms of choosing actively to do anything by myself, so at this time, I don't think I want to be a single mom. But I do think about, should in a couple years, finances change because a business takes off in a very particular way, or we sell it or something like that, I would probably adopt on my own. I think about that. But my prayer is that by next fall, or next spring, I will be in a relationship with my husband. And then we can decide what we're going to do then. But I don't want to do it by myself. So I have no plans for the eggs right now. I'm actually planning to get my boobs done before I get those eggs frozen.
Well, we are sending all the positive energy towards your man and you starting that family. And I really just want to reemphasize what you said about doing that work on yourself. We talk a lot about therapy and I just started. Chelsea just started.
So
and
proud of you.
I feel like a lot of the
jazz
conversation,
hands.
Honestly, it's so important. And Chelsea, I feel like we've even talked about this. It's for me, it's a muscle, right? But also when I talk to my therapist, she's like, why are you here? And I was like, I want to be a better version of myself every day, every week, every month. And then what that looks like as us as a team, or to my family, or as a partner, or as a parent, being able to do that work manifests and opens up so many doors. And I feel like people don't want to think about that. They just want to be like, oh, well, I'm fixing a problem. I'm like, you don't necessarily have to have a quote unquote problem, even though everybody a little fucked up. But you know, like you don't necessarily have to be like, this one traumatic thing happened to me and I'm trying to fix it. It's like, no, like, how can I be a better communicator? How can I be more understanding? How can I be, even if you think you're great at those things, there's always, you know, you can always improve, I think. And so I love that you said that, because in doing that work, how can you now show up for your future man that we're manifesting right here?
I mean,
Right
are we
here, right
manifesting him, or like,
Well,
what's the tea?
what's the tea?
Oh,
Well,
Glynn!
I mean, talk about an interviewer. Okay,
She said it's not her
Um,
first rodeo.
like, no, so yeah, you know, there's someone special in my life that I love very, very deeply. And my prayer is that we are able to align in a way that it makes sense for us to grow and to be each other's purpose partner and lover and champion and best friend. That's been one of the things that I've learned about myself as because I was engaged at 25. That was a shit show. And God, well, let me take this back, because actually I'm still very close with my family. No, but let me not take that part back. But no, it was a shit show, and they know it was a shit show. But it was a great experience that I had as a 25-year-old, and I'm happy I had it as a 25 to 28-year-old, because it taught me what I do not want in relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it also goes along with what I shared with you all about where I was at that time. I was so grown, you know, I had this big job, and, you know, we drove a Range Rover, and we lived in the Browns, like all these things. And it was, you know, really before my time. And that's why I also like to say, like, you know, as young people or people in general, be where you are and acknowledge the power of being where you are and allowing that, and not trying to be everything that you see at the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
So I was engaged, then, you know, I dated someone, you know, that I still have a great relationship with, who's now married. Then I dated someone else. And then I had like a 10-year situationship with someone, which was way too long. Listen, let me just tell y'all this. If y'all gonna have a situationship, create a real cutoff that's not gonna take years and years. But the thing is that it wasn't even a bad situationship. It was a great situationship. And we loved each other, and like really loved each other. But I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere, but I was comfortable in it.
Sade is evil eyeing me. So sorry.
Do you feel me looking at you in that box over there?
I had a 4-year-long situationship, but like we have cut, like it's deaded. But I could have. No, it's done.
Is it done?
No, it's definitely done.
Is it done though? Is it done?
I'm gonna do the charade and Marlo.
No, it's done. But there were times that I was like, this is so chill, I could do this forever. But he also already had a kid. I didn't know if he really wanted to have other children. He also he initially said he didn't believe in monogamy, but then later he said that he did and that he could see it. But then something in the pit of my stomach was like, yeah, but I don't see it. Like, I don't think that you're like my person, but I could keep doing this forever. And that was kind of scary. I thought, I was like, when the first time I tried to end it, and then we got started again. But the first time I was like, I'm afraid I'm going to look up and I'm still fucking with you, and so much time would have passed.
Can I just give you a hand? Can I give you a hand clap for choosing to walk away? I mean, and it was also for me because I was so focused on my career. I was like, I can do this all the time. And also then it was that and girl, therapy has helped me understand I have had commitment issues, not in terms of being monogamous, because that's a different conversation that I need to have with y'all about understanding this lack of monogamy with y'all generation.
With this generation.
y'all and all the flexitarians and the
not me.
Like it's that's a different. I want to talk about that. So I got a question for y'all on that. But like
go into that.
I was like when I in therapy, I was like, the reason why I realized it because I've had my dad, my biological father wasn't in my life. And I was raised by my grandfather, and I have a wonderful stepfather But my biological father, so commitment for me, it was like, I wanted them close enough. It's why I always like long distance relationships.
I like
I've
that
dated,
too.
I've dated 2 people in London, and it was very convenient. You come here, I come there, and then I leave.
Yes.
Now I'm at this place. I don't like sleeping alone. I'm like, shit, like, what do I do about this? I'd be like, my girlfriends, I'm like, can you come over and cuddle me? That's a whole different conversation too, but not like that. But like,
I was like, oh, okay.
No. I was getting.
I got it.
Oh,
Glenn,
did I hear something
Glenn
else?
with her question. No,
Glenn messy ass in her square.
It's so messy. No, Glenn, it ain't that. But it goes back to this point of like, that's a TV show that I'm working on though, about like a rebooted Golden Girls, but with Black women who all live together because we're single. Like, so that's a whole different.
Please make my dreams come true.
It's that's a whole different concept. But yeah, so like the situationship lasted too long. And then like, my most recent is someone I've dated on and off. And quite honestly, when he showed up, I knew, and we knew, but we played around. And I think that that's the other thing that I've learned. It's like, now the confidence of being 40, when you know, stop playing games. And someone has to have who had their big girl panties on today? Sade.
My bloomers.
You had them bloomers, or you got to put them Golden Girl bloomers on and be like, here's what the hell is going down. You in or you in? What's it? What is it? What are we doing? And so I'm happy you out of the situationship, Glenn. And we know Chelsea, who's 23.
Right, exactly.
Chelsea's 23 to be wed.
Getting married.
I'm fucking crying. Oh my gosh.
Did you want to ask us about the non-monogamy? Actually, Sade's a good person to speak on it.
So I'm not actively in a non-monogamous relationship right now because my boyfriend is not currently of that mindset. But things change. And
how do you feel about that when it changes? And what's your position on it? When he says that he's into the polygamous thing, are you into the polygamous
it's the
thing?
opposite.
Okay. What happened? Come back.
He's
He's
struggle
monogamous.
with monogamy, and he is like a true like traditional monogamous. I mean, it's give or take in everything. I'm not of the mindset of like, if we can't be open, then I can't be with you. But I also feel like as you get older, you grow, you see things that might change. If it doesn't, fine. So be it. Okay. Keeping it in my big girl panties. But literally, but if for some reason
she said I might have to take my big girl panties off and put some thongs on,
period,
in multiple destinations,
right?
No,
but
actually,
if for some reason, he's an interesting person, right? Because he understands me. He understands that I'm flirtatious. So it's not to the degree of like locked in, don't even look at somebody, but because he understands just in my nature, I'm going to look, I'm going to touch, I'm going to dance. I just feel like there's so many beautiful people in this world that you can connect with on so many levels. That doesn't necessarily have to mean sexually, but even just like when I'm romancing in Mexico City and a gentleman wants to take me out dancing, like I want to do that. I want to experience that. And that not necessarily mean that I don't love my partner just as much. I just want to experience this person. And often when you experience someone of the opposite sex that you are attracted to, then we start pulling in all this. Oh. Yeah. No. What I'm saying, then it starts to like be a thin line of like, oh, you're cheating. Oh, you're doing this. Oh, you're doing that. And I'm like, I'm experiencing. And so that's how I feel about it. I don't necessarily think I necessarily need to be like out fucking everybody. I don't know why. Like you remind me of my big sister, and I'm like, oh my God, I said fucking.
No, That's what it's supposed to be. And that's what happens. So this is good. It's all good.
I don't think it necessarily has to be that. I feel like, yes, our generation has gotten into this like, oh, well, I'm poly, but these are the rules and this and that and all the different ways in which people identify with their sexuality. I think I just feel like as young, beautiful, living souls, we deserve experiences. And that's how I see it. But right now, ain't no experiences happening. This young man.
Well, how do you choose? How do you choose when the experiences are happening? Is it because of how you feel, or you're in Mexico City, or is it because you and your partner have an understanding or agreement right now?
Ideally, I think it's like you have a nice agreement. I can't speak too much on the current agreement on air, but we can offline. It's a nice situation.
But I said this to you all before. I said I need to have like quarterly kind of catch ups with you because you all keep me kind of fresh and young. I don't understand any of it. So let me just tell you, for anyone who's listening, I don't know what's going to happen between, with my relationships and dating. And that's the other thing. Like, and there are people who are like actively trying to get at me while I'm broken up right now. There are people actively trying to get at me. At this point in my life, I want to be super intentional, but I also have never been comfortable like having sex with multiple people in a season or at a time. It's just never been my thing. And then especially now, like for me, it's less about the concern of being pregnant and more the concern about some other shit. Like I'm too old to have gone, STD free and have some other stuff go down. So that just doesn't work for me. But also like, it's a spiritual thing for me. And so I try and understand and what's challenging for me. And I'm giving y'all a lot, God. Cause I also, it's so funny. This. So Mashonda Treffer is one of my good friends. And she's not here at my house now, but she's here at my house. She's doing an art show for BET Weekend tomorrow. But like, we were just talking, her new album is coming out and we were talking, she's like, it's all about dating. She's like, she's never talked about dating publicly. And that was actually one of the things that, was a little bit of an issue. And it's like, I don't talk about like my boyfriend. I don't say boyfriend because I'm a girl's girl, right? And I talk about more empowerment stuff and I talk about my personal life, but I've always wanted to keep my man stuff behind until it's like super my husband.
Yeah.
And the reason for that, has, and perhaps I have to evolve in this. And so I've been working on this because my ex helped me to understand. He's like, well, I want to know that you want me in these circles and that you're proud of me. And it was never that wasn't the case. It was more because, listen, most people like me. Like I probably am one of those people that, you ask about, people like, oh, I love her. And not that I give a shit about that, but that's probably the truth. But at the same time, like there are also people out here can say, I love her and I like her and then be like, oh, that's her man. Let me try and get at him. I don't need all of that stuff out there. And I do feel like there are some things when you're especially so transparent as I am about the world and about my life experience that I want to reserve for myself. Like my mom and my parents don't like being on social media, and, so I honor that for them. There are just some things I like to keep to myself. So talking about dating this openly, y'all gonna have to come up with some really good clips on this.
Oh, we're gonna have some clips.
Glynn, messy Glynn.
I just want to know
messy.
So as I was saying, my mom always says, especially specific to my situation, when I talk to her about, what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling about monogamy, that there's no ring on my finger. And so, curious on your thoughts on that.
Girl, I'll have to tune in later.
All right. That was part 1 of our conversation with Tai. You have to step back into the group chat next week. You all to see where we end up. And we have a lot more to discuss with Tai, especially including her brand, Brown Girl Jane. We want to know a lot more about that. So more to come.
Love y'all.
All right.